mentioned the Democratic National Committee. The DNC set a June vote deadline to remove a pair of vice chairs, with one of those re-votes including David Hogg's position. Well, Hogg not very happy with that, saying the following: if we are to redo this election, it truly just sends a horrible message that we really do not want out there at this moment. And that's why I believe that it should not go forward. It's impossible to ignore the broader context of my work to reform the party, which loomed large over this. I think in that first part of his answer, what he's alluding to is this sense. Now, I get the devil's in the details in this case, but from an optics perspective, to David Hogg's point, doesn't it feel like the Democrats, I don't know, seem to tend to change voting rules until they eventually get the outcome that they want?
Well, they absolutely do. I mean, there is nothing more rigged than the Democratic Party right now. But I think this whole situation is frankly hilarious. Nobody rides harder for old white men than Democrats, surprisingly enough. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. All David Hogg did is come out and say the obvious truth, that the Democrat Party needs new blood, that they need a lot of these very old people to retire. They need to create a bench. They need to start getting new talent in there. They have a lot of people whose ideas have failed to connect with the American people. And for that, they're trying to fire him and rig their own internal elections yet again and push him out. And it's, you know, there's no love lost between me and David Hogg, but what he said was unquestionably correct, and they don't want to hear it. So I think for anybody wondering, when is the Democratic Party going to get it together? Who's going to be their next torchbearer? Are they going to figure out a new strategy? It looks like that time is not coming anytime soon. They have absolutely no idea what they have to do to recalibrate, and the few young men amongst them that could perhaps point them in the right direction, they are pushing out for people like James Carville, who is completely incorrect about his analysis on where the party is and what it needs to do. So it's a problem not only about the democracy aspect and what they actually allow their voters to do in participating to pick their leaders and the people who represent them, but it points to a broader issue. They have no strategy. They have no vision.
I think you just highlighted something, and I think this entire segment highlights something. The Democrat Party is in greater disarray Memorial Day weekend than they were November 6th, the day after the election. And I think maybe a lot of us gave them a little bit more credit, that said, yeah, you guys messed up in 2024. Trump certainly had a hand in forcing your hand in that. But maybe they get it together, I don't know, in the first couple months of the year. They've gone the exact opposite direction. They are in disarray. They don't know which end is up. And I think that bodes well for the Republicans in 2026. During an election, a midterm election, that Republicans, or should I say, the party in power, has a tendency to lose. It is fascinating to watch. Hannah Cox, have a great weekend. You mentioned the Democratic National Committee. The DNC set a June vote deadline to remove a pair of vice chairs, with one of those re-votes including David Hogg's position. Well, Hogg not very